Right.
Like if you do it next month and you're gonna have a kid, then it's like, damn, bro. Like,
yeah,
you barely met this chick. It's like
it's like, damn, bro, you're already a dad.
You're already a dad in a month. I'm like, dude, come on.
I mean, you're kind of already a stepdad.
Yeah, but it's not like okay, that's the difference. It's like more of a I could leave it and drop it. With a real kid, with your kids, like you can't really leave it and drop it. You're like, no, here, nigga, take your shit. Like, oh fuck. But
shit, tell that to my biological father.
No, motherfucker, tell that. Hey, I see that shit walk out. Like, you know, like I gotta go get milk.
Right.
But
never came back.
Where's the milk at? Like, I don't know, man.
Hello, and welcome to Situaseans podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Williams, aka Shawnee Doo. You can call me Sean, Shawnee, Shawnee Doo. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad that y'all are here. Thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast. Like, again, you all are so amazing. Those of you that listen to this podcast, that share it with your family, friends, coworkers, anybody with ears, we will take them. We love them. You fucking matter. And yeah, keep on sharing the podcast. And literally, all of you all out there that are sharing this podcast and the people that are part of the Patreon group, you know who you are. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Patreon. You all are so amazing. You keep this podcast going just like everybody else. But yes, let's continue to, share this podcast, let everybody know about it. Assemble the fucking group chat. Get everybody involved. Let's fucking go. Now, you might be wondering why I got two mics here. Well, I got a very, very, very special surprise for you all. I got my first guest, and my first guest is a very special person. So I'm gonna introduce that person to you in a second. But before we get to that, I'm so excited that I got a first guest. I mean, come on, y'all! Like, this is amazing. I got a guest. Like, come on, Situations podcast is growing. Yeah, so there's going to be way more guests on this show. But, again, I just want you guys to kind of get used to the format of this podcast. That way I can start bringing on more people, and you all can, you all are free to suggest guests as well. If you know somebody that'd be perfect for the show, DM the podcast. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're every fucking where. You can find us. But yeah, so before I bring on my special guest, I want to kind of let you guys know what today's episode is about. Today, we're going to be talking about, how do you know if you're getting into a relationship? Like, are you moving too fast or too slow while you're getting into that relationship? So it's kind of talking about the pacing of relationships and, how making sure that you're not rushing things and, getting too far ahead of yourself. And then we're also going to be covering a listener submission. So thank you so much for you all that are submitting your questions and stories. Situationspodcast.com/submit. Go there and submit your anonymous stories, questions, or anything that's just about life in general, or anything. You can ask anything and we unpack it right here on the show. But yeah, so the other topic is talking about, how do you know that you're ready to, get married, so it's pretty much that other topic is about someone's, interest in whether or not somebody is really marriage material. So how do you know that you or your partner is marriage material, and what do you do leading up to that to make sure that you're not getting too far ahead of yourself? So that's kind of the whole theme of this episode, is just covering pacing and making sure that you're not getting too far ahead of yourself. All right. So my very special guest is about to come onto the show. My very special guest is my best friend, Pedro, Dennis Christopher Colon, aka Pedro. So let's give a warm welcome to my guest. All right, you guys. So this is my very, very best friend, Pedro. Like, this guy, like me and him, we go back. Like, dude, how many years? Like, we met, we were like, what, like 8 or 9?
8 or 9. So we have about 15 years about knowing each other.
Way more than 15 years.
For real?
I think.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm horrible, man. So it's not something like I'll be like, okay, it's been 20, 30 years. Down the road, I'll be like, dude, we've been like 30 years and we know each other. Like, oh, it feels like yesterday.
Dude, 20 years, man. About 20,
20 years.
Yeah, about like 20 years. Damn.
So, can you imagine having a friendship that long?
Yeah, like I guess 20, 22, 21, 21 years, something like that.
21.
Yeah, so over 20 years of friendship, man.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, so, me and Pedro, we go way fucking back. And like, like we, to give like a very like long story short, we used to live like on the same block, right? Yeah, you live like a couple doors down.
So I used to live on a corner house, and he used to live like 1 or 2 houses down from my house on the left side. So like when I first met him, I met him like going through the alley.
That's right.
And that was something that I was like, oh, at that point, I didn't know anybody from the block because I was just moving in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was so coincidence. I had stopped at something. I don't know what I was doing. I would think I was going to go to the liquor store. Because it's like there's a liquor store down the block.
On the corner.
So it was mostly about how, dads would send us for like, go get some chips, go get some pop, or, something that you'd be like, okay, get out the house. I want you out of here.
Exactly.
So I was like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
And I had stopped and I was like, oh, look, they have dogs there. Because you had a German Shepherd and then you had a Labrador. And I was like, oh, I like dogs, because I had a pack of dogs too. Because I had a dachshund, I had 2 Chihuahuas, and I had a ferret at that time.
Exactly that. Oh yeah, you had a whole bunch of animals.
I had a whole
rabbit.
Zoo. I had a whole zoo.
A whole fucking zoo.
So when I had a whole zoo, it was because my parents were breaking up. It was something that was like comforting. It was something that I would have someone to hug or whatever, etc.
Yeah.
So it was something that it would be for me and my sister to be like, okay, we'll get whatever we want because our parents were separating. Mm-hmm. So my sister would ask for like the random animals to be like rabbits, hamsters, ferrets, turtles. Like we had this whole zoo.
Y'all legit had a whole fucking zoo.
Like there were so many animals in that house. They were like, damn, bro, like get rid of some of these fucking animals.
Right. Yeah, and then it's just crazy that we've known each other so long, and like, dude, our families are like each other's families.
I know his sisters, and he knows my sister.
Yeah,
it's just me and my sister. The siblings.
Yeah,
my dad never got remarried. My mom did get married, but doesn't have kids with his spouse. Mm-hmm. But I get along with her spouse, so
Yeah,
it's a mutual relationship with my stepdad,
Yeah,
and my dad knows that she's remarried. Mm-hmm. My dad never got remarried because he said he prefers to be alone,
Yeah.
So, and there's something wrong with being alone. It's just that the comfort zone of being alone is like easier,
exactly,
than dealing with somebody who's might not be compatible with you.
Right.
Your comfort zone is always going to be easier than kind of jump into a relationship kind of thing.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought up the whole thing about like, the fear of like being alone. Cause nobody ever wants to be alone. And we've gone through so much together, in our individual lives.
Right. But it's also, nobody wants to be alone. But
exactly.
It's easier to be alone than trying to deal with somebody else's emotions.
Exactly, man.
And it's easier to be like, okay, I don't want to do this today. I don't have to do it today. When you're in a relationship, you kind of be a little bit more forceful and be like, okay, I got to give that motivation to actually go and attend to kind of be happy with that relationship.
Trying to exactly. Like navigate that, keep people happy. And it's not easy trying to keep everybody happy. And dude, it's like we all do the best that we can, right? We try to navigate these relationships and situations, whereas we're not. Because in the end of the day, nobody wants to be the bad guy, right?
Right. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. But everybody has some comfort zone where they want to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. But in reality, you can't match that compatibility with that person because they have so much high standards. Mm-hmm. And you were like, you know what? I don't have those standards for myself. Mm-hmm. Why would I create standards for you?
Right. How do you navigate
you navigate your standards for that other person?
Exactly. Some of the things that, we kind of like want to talk on the show today is like, one of the things is like, how do you know if you're going too fast in a relationship? And I know, you and I kind of like talk about stuff like this in the past where it's like either, we know people that have jumped into relationships too fast or whatever, or maybe like, you or I jumped into like a relationship too fast. Yeah, kind of like share a little bit about, your experience and like, what it like, like what causes, you to have like, like a past experience where you jumped into a relationship too fast. What caused that? Why were you like, oh man, like, I got to jump into that relationship,
So I'm currently in a relationship with this, this girl I met. And it's kind of hard to express your feelings towards that person when you barely get to know them. And they already have like these high standards for you.
Yeah.
They'll already kind of have like, oh, we're going to get married or move in, and you kind of take a step back because you're like, damn, I'm not even ready to even buy a house or even buy a dog, because it's like you have so much responsibilities in your own, back home or in a certain kind of, you're not situated for a relationship. You kind of jump in it because you don't want to be alone. Right. You kind of situate yourself like, shit, maybe the age is starting to pass by you. And you'll be like, damn, what am I going to do? Or how is people going to feel because I'm alone, You're trying to situate that person or situate other people in your life. You're like, damn, you got to stay alone by yourself all the time. You don't have somebody who be there with you or something happens to you, Yeah. When are you going to have kids? So when are you going to move out? When are you going to do this and this and that?
Right.
You have so many people talking in your ears, like trying to figure out your own life when you barely figure out your own life.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like the pressures of like society or pressures around like the family and friends that are around you. Like, hey, this person is in a relationship. This person has kids, or this person is getting their life together, and they're younger than you. Like, what what the fuck is taking you so long?
Years are passing by, but at the same time, you're kind of stuck in that cycle of life. And you're like, okay, where's my comfort zone? I want to be. It's either, studying or playing video games or doing what you love to do. And you don't want to give it up because it's your comfort zone. It's something that relaxes you and you're not stressed about it.
Exactly.
And some people see it as a bad thing because you get too attached to certain things. And you're like, okay, this is the way I am. But they want you to change in that format. We're saying maybe stop playing video games, stop, drawing or whatever. Get out there more, try to be more, not antisocial as much. Try to talk to people, try to, be more sociable with other people.
Yeah.
If it's not in your nature to go out there and be friendly, like how me and you are, like the relationship, then it's never gonna be your scene, or it's gonna be your comfort zone. Right. You're always gonna be that nervous person who's gonna sit in the corner. And you've seen it, like when you go to parties, you see that random person still sitting in the corner. Yeah. But then, like you talk to them, they'll be like, "Oh, it's fine," or "I'm fine here." And that random person, Yeah. And it's like we had moments where I got into family gathering and like expected have a whole conversation with them, and I have nothing related to talk to you about. So how am I going to talk to you if I have nothing to talk about with you? Right. So you expect me to come out with an answer for you when I have nothing to talk to you at all? Right. Like, you trying to make this friendly conversation, I get you, but if we are not on the same playing field, just stay away. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And I guess, like getting into like relationships too fast, like I guess like the downside to that is, you kind of feel like, you're living the life cycle of that relationship so quickly, because you know what I mean? Like, because I know like in normal like regular relationships or the average relationship, let's say somebody, they're friends, whatever, or they meet on a dating app. They're dating for like, maybe 5 or 6 months, and then they have that conversation. Are we going to be exclusive? And then like, after a certain few months after exclusivity, that's when they, become official or whatever, however pace that they're moving at. And then maybe like almost a year in, one of them says, "Oh, hey, I love you," or whatever. But so and that's in like a lot like normal like I guess relationships where it's like there's a timeline where a certain time things happen. But I know in some cases I've seen like relationships where it's like somebody's saying like I love you like after like 1 month, and like to me that's like a foreign concept because it's like there's only 3 women. Yeah, 3 women that I've ever said I love you to. And so it's like, it's so hard for me to say that because it's like, I have to be certain that person is for me before I can say, like I love you. But yeah, but like what's your experience with that?
With me, I had 2 women that I actually truly said I love you in my relationships and actually meant it with the bottom of my heart and actually be like, okay, I truly love you. By saying love you, it kind of defeats the purpose of it and the meaning of it. Because you could say I love you to the dog and you're like, are you really in love with the dog, But in reality, it's like, okay, you're being nice to that person, You're being not genuine with your feelings because you're just trying to be genuine to their feeling and be, trying to comfort that person. It's more of a comfort for that person and trying to not seem like the asshole without, if they say I love you first, now you kind of force yourself to like, it's not like, yes, now you're built this negativity of that love, you don't have that. And then you start getting these mixed feelings about that person. You start to distrust that person. And by just having a month or a week or into it, you kind of have like second doubts about it.
Exactly. Especially if you're rushing into saying like, I love you. And it sounds like, because I know like in certain situations, I know you've told me in the past, like, someone that you've gone on, like that you've dated in the past or whatever, they said like, I love you so quick to you. And you were kind of like put in the corner. Oh shit. Like, do I say I love you too? Like, I need more time, but I don't want to upset them.
Right. And you don't want to be like that asshole. They'd be like, okay, I guess, but it's no meaning, like I said, towards that person. You can say, I love this microphone, but in reality, does it really love me back,
Right.
It's more like a foreign word to a person than saying a kindness out of it.
Yeah.
You can love the person as a person, but do you really love that person in bottom of your heart?
Exactly.
You can have so many mixed feelings about that person. You'll be like, okay, what do I do next? Exactly. How are they going to feel next?
Exactly.
Do I make them upset? Do I make them angry? Do I make them uncomfortable being around me?
Right.
Am I happier being alone? Do I break off the relationship or do I continue with the relationship and see where it leads to?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And it's like, I feel like with the whole love thing, like with me in past relationships, even like with my ex, she said it first, and this was like after like a month and a half of dating almost. And like we were, where were we? Oh, we were out, like a group of us went out to go volunteer at this like campsite out like out in Michigan or whatever, for like the YMCA, whatever, like helping to put together the summer camp program for kids, just volunteering or whatever. Okay. And, one night when we were about to like, we're like about to like go to bed or whatever, she says to me, I love you. And I'm just like, oh, you do? I was like, and cause I got backed into that corner as well. But, and I think, and this was like at the height of COVID. This was like late 2020, early 2021. So our relationship moved so fucking fast because of COVID, because it was like, well, I'm not dating anybody. And like she's the only person I'm dating because I don't want to, get COVID going out, dating other people. Plus everything was shut down. So it was like,
you're kind of stuck in the house anyways.
Exactly. So our relationship moved so fast because we were just hanging out at each other's houses, cooking for each other at each other's houses instead of going out into the world because there was no world to go out into.
Right.
But anyway, us going to go volunteer with the, with this campsite or whatever, that was like, us being able to like, at least, get out, and then like just, have a little bit of an outlet. But anyway, so she says like, I love you, whatever, like one late night right before we're about to go to bed. And because like, again, like that relationship moved so fast, I said, you know what? Like, I love you too. Like, and that was that was the quickest I've ever said I love you to somebody. And of course I did mean it. But there was like a part of me that was like, oh man, I wish like, she had like waited maybe like, I don't know, another month before she said it, because like, again, this relationship was moving so fast. I didn't want it to feel superficial, but I know she meant it because of like how she said it to me, so, and, so mind you, we were all, cause like it was a couple of her friends that came along with us. Right. And so mind you, we were like we were all having like a whole bunch of drinks or whatever. So of course, like the alcohol courage is whatever is gonna help you say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
So that's why she said it, and then like the next day, we had that talk, because I was like, hey, like, so last night do you remember like the conversation we had? She was like, oh yeah, I remember, but I just want you to know that, I do love you, and I know this relationship has definitely, kind of gone a little bit faster than what either of us are used to because of COVID.
Right.
And so we both had that understanding. But yeah, we navigated it, and, I double checked the next morning to make sure that like, okay, yeah, this wasn't just
a fluke.
Exactly. So,
okay.
But yeah, so we were official, like, after that whole I love you thing. Yeah. So this was that was the fastest I've ever gotten into a relationship. Like normally it takes me almost like a year before I'm like, okay, I see myself with that person.
Right. And I thought I was expecting something like that to wait out that whole year too. Like at least instead of jumping into a relationship right away too. And after a couple months, like not even a couple months, after a month, you start to think like, damn, this is kind of like feeling like overwhelming. It's too much to be kind of bear with it to somebody else's emotions. And especially when you start to get these little, not fights, but you start to discuss about certain things that you don't like about that person. And you know how other people might take it the wrong way, or, or come off as too much of that personality of that person. You might come off as a total asshole, or trying to be like as forward as you can without hurting her hurting her or his feelings at that point. For example, like I am a straightforward person. I will tell you what's on my mind first of all. I'm not trying to beat around the bush and be like, okay, we're gonna sit here and be like, oh well, I don't like this, or I don't know how to tell you this or this and that.
You get right to the point.
Get to the point. Yeah, don't beat around the bush. We're too fucking grown to be like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't like this about you. I don't like how your style is. Tell me directly without having for me to guess what you're gonna say next.
Right, because we're not mind readers.
We're not mind readers. We're not trying to solve a jig puzzle or whatever. We're not trying to put the pieces together and figure out the answer to it. Just be honest, straight honest with me. Like, hey, I don't like how this is going. I don't like how you treat me. I feel like sometimes you come off as too aggressive. You come off too strong, or you come off as this annoyances or whatever. Like, I don't like it. What are we gonna do about it?
Right.
What's the next step? Do we break up? Do we fix it? Or we just leave it how it is?
Exactly. No, and it's so important to have those conversations and know, where each other's mind is at. Right. Because it's like, if you don't have those conversations, it's going to keep piling up. And it's just like more shit that, you both are going to be arguing about. So yeah, absolutely, dude. And, there was like, like, I don't know, I feel like the more conversations, like, because, you can't, there's no such thing as having too many conversations in a relationship.
But if you sit there and be like, kind of stay quiet, then you're supposed to, your other specific other supposed to figure out what's going on.
Right.
If you're angry at that person, don't have to yell. Don't have to get mad. Just talk at a normal pace. Like, you know what?
Exactly.
Give me 2 minutes to figure out what I want to say.
Right. Because
give me 2 minutes without arguing, without yelling, without throwing something. Just give me 2 minutes.
Because somebody has to be able to, I guess, lead or navigate those conversations, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't have to sit there and not say anything at all. You know,
Right.
You can't be the one just listening and be like,
Exactly.
Like you gotta put your effort into it. If you want the other person to put the effort in it, you gotta put the effort to that person too.
Exactly.
You just can't be listening to that one person talk about it and then be like,
Got to meet each other halfway.
Right.
Yeah, and this was like another point too that I was kind of thinking about as well. So it's like the whole thing of like, getting through like the honeymoon phase of like a relationship because, of course, things are going to like look all fine and dandy.
I call
in
it
the beginning.
puppy love.
Puppy love.
I call it the puppy love.
The puppy love stage, exactly.
I call it the puppy love because one person is always going to feel it a little bit more than the other person. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that puppy love, you get to overlook the flaws of that person.
Yeah.
He could be an asshole. He could be a jerk. He could be a liar, cheater, whatever. Mm-hmm. You overlook that because you're in love with that person. Right. Or you think you're in love with that person.
Yeah.
But in reality, when those flaws start to come over or they start to be in the way, then you'll be like, dang, what am I getting into?
Right. Right. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Yeah.
And especially when somebody's been alone for 2-3 years, that, back then, and you're now starting to jump into a relationship, they don't know how to get in a relationship anymore because they've been alone for so long.
Right. So
you kind of build yourself up to that relationship. Like, oh, I don't give a fuck what happens next because I've been alone for so long.
Exactly.
So if you were to break up with that person next, you don't give a damn what happens.
Right.
You're not the one in love. You're the one that's just there.
Right.
You sure care about that person. You care to the teeth. Mm-hmm. But in reality, you're not the one in love.
Right. Because they loved you.
The other person is one that's in love.
Right. Because they like you more than you like them. Because of that. Yeah. Because like, again, like you kind of said, like that whole puppy love phase, you gotta be mindful about how that pacing is going and having those check-ins. Yeah, because you're right. Because someone is going to end up liking somebody more than the other person during that honeymoon phase or that puppy love phase. And on top of that, I feel like, the importance of getting past the honeymoon or the puppy love phase is, of course, everything's going to look all cool at surface level, face value from the beginning because you're barely knowing each other. Right. But as time goes along, you're going to see the flaws of that person. Oh, that person, chews loudly when they eat, or that person,
snores in their sleep.
Exactly. This person is never home because they travel too much, or they play video games all night, or in my case, I was always in doing theater shows and shit.
Right.
So
and that person might not like that at all,
Right, exactly.
They want you to be next to them, they want you to be in that same area when you're trying to be something, when you're trying to career yourself, trying to build that relationship with your career. It's either the career or the partner, you gotta have an ultimatum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so tough.
Like you gotta have to pick which one do you want. Do you want a relationship or do you want the career?
Right.
Like if you pick the career, you're not gonna get the girl of your choice.
Yeah.
And speaking of choices of girls, you're never gonna get the right one that you want. It's always gonna be the one. It's like, okay, it's there.
Yeah. Sometimes I guess some people, a lot of people settle, like men and women. Sometimes they find
settle
themselves
for
settling.
the person who they thought it was the right one for them in that moment.
Yeah.
So in being comfort and trying not to be in comfort. Because in reality, okay, let's say, for example, this person has their whole life ready. They have a house, they have a car, they have, from their previous relationship too, they have a kid.
Yeah.
They already went through those stages of life,
Yeah. Some
people have not gone through those stages of life. Maybe it's one or two things, but maybe on the third one has not,
Right.
For example, having a kid. We both don't have kids. We don't know what fatherhood look like.
Yeah, we haven't experienced it yet.
So we can't be like, for example, like somebody who has a kid, be in that same relationship. You can't create that fatherhood with that kid because you're not his dad or his father.
Right.
You can be more like a friend for him. You could be not that role model.
Yeah,
because it's not like
it's not easy. Yeah,
it's not easy to be filling under those shoes.
Right. Exactly, man.
And you can't force somebody to fill into that in those shoes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like it's a little overwhelming when it comes to that. When it comes to that part, like you're trying to build something together, but you don't want to build that fatherhood with that kid because it's like
you're like sometimes I know sometimes like stepdads feel like they don't want to like overstep, right? Or and replace the father, or sometimes like the mom or the kid might feel like, hey, this my mom's new boyfriend or husband or whatever the fuck. The mom or the kid might feel like, hey, like you're not my dad, or hey, you're not his father,
to
like,
kind of be discipline him or tell him don't do this, don't do that,
right.
And it overshadows everybody else's feelings, like
exactly.
She's gonna be getting mad because you're telling the correct thing not to do, or the kids be like, you're not my dad, you can't tell me what the hell to do.
Yeah,
they're gonna kick you right in the nuts because you're like, damn, bro, yeah, that's true, but it's damn, like I'm trying to be looking out for you,
exactly.
But it's something that you kind of have to like get used to when it comes to those type of relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Because it gets so tricky, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does get tricky. It gets complicated and it gets confusing because you're like, what am I doing here?
Right.
Why am I in this kind of relationship when there's other options?
Absolutely, bro.
And here's another thing: when it comes to these kind of relationship and ends, there's like that kind of drawback, like yes, the kid's gonna miss you, or yes, the wife's gonna be like, oh damn, he could have been a fatherlyhood for my kid,
right?
But it don't take it as like he's just there for that,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, you're absolutely right, and and I think like another thing that like really points out is kind of like sometimes if you rush into a relationship, either one person or both people start to have doubts.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be that doubt. There's always going to be like, damn, what if it does work out, or what if it doesn't work out how we planning it out?
Right? Did I move too fast? Should I have taken more time?
Right.
Like, yeah,
and it's always going to be that doubt. Like, damn, like I'm gonna lose interest because she likes me more, And it's easy for me to be like, okay, I'm out. I don't want to be in a relationship anymore, and I could just go back to being myself. And I know I have to take her feelings into consideration, but it's like you were living your life before you met me, so how am I going to hurt your feelings,
right
throughout this stage? We did get close, but we only been a month,
right? So
it's not like you're in love, like not we're going to get married right away, not like we're going to have kids right away.
Exactly, man.
And it's too early to even think about stuff like that.
How long have you guys been dating so far?
A month.
Yeah.
So it's too early to be in that mindset,
Yeah.
Give it another 6 months, 7 months down the road. Now then we can talk, now we can be like, okay, what is your preference of having a relationship? Like, do you want kids? Do you want to live together first? Do you want to, kind of like, get adjusted to each other being in the same room,
Yeah, because you both want kids. Yeah, because she has a kid already, right?
Yeah, she does have a kid already.
Okay.
And then we both do want kids. We talked about it a little bit.
Okay.
And maybe that's what kind of sparked it a little bit too much,
Yeah.
Like you're adding lane to the fire. So it's like that's also my fault. It's like, I might have encouraged her a little too much to kind of push it in there. Like, oh yeah, I want kids, you want kids. So it's like, oh, this dude wants kids. You know what I'm saying? This might be the perfect one for me.
Yeah.
Because he wants kids, he wants to get married, but not realizing how much of a time frame that we have,
Right.
Like if you do it next month and you're gonna have a kid, then it's like, damn, bro. Like, you barely met this chick. It's like
it's like, damn, bro, you're already a dad.
You're already a dad in a month. Like, dude, come on.
I mean, you're kind of already a stepdad.
Yeah, but it's not like okay, that's the difference. It's like more of a I could leave it and drop it. Right, kid, with your kids, like you can't really leave it and drop it. You're like, no, here, nigga, take your shit. Like, oh, fuck. But
shit, tell that to my biological father.
No, motherfucker, tell that. Hey, I see that shit walk out. Like, I gotta go get milk.
Right.
But
never came back.
Where's the milk at? Like, I don't know, man. But
yeah.
Well,
and oh yeah, go ahead.
One more thing is like, Yes, when you have a spouse that has, a kid with someone else, that other parent might show up back into their life.
Right.
But now it's like, I don't want nothing to do with the kid, but then I want to do something with the kid,
Right now, they want something to do with the kid. Now that there's a boyfriend
in the picture.
In the picture, right?
So out of spite and jealousy, now I'm going to make your life miserable by saying, okay, now I want to be in the picture.
Yeah.
Now I want to be the one who take care of the kid and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
You know? But it's just jealousy because he sees you happy with that other person or sees you...
pretty much doing the things that he wished he could have done.
He could have wished he could have done, but instead he wanted to cheat or he wanted to lie to her. So now he sees the errors in his ways, but you already fucked up. And
exactly.
And it's not fixing the mistakes. You're just kind of encouraging the mistakes at that point.
For sure, bro. For sure. Yeah, and I think sometimes, like, people that get into a relationship too quickly, I know like there's cases where someone's worried about being alone, or they're just worried like, how long is it going to take me to find that next relationship? I know in my own experience, bro, that was literally me. So after bro, you've already seen like my all the relationships that I've been in, and like after my divorce and everything. It took me 2 years until I got together with the person that's now my ex or whatever. Like and I think another thing that why I stayed in that relationship, even though it was just so toxic, because we kept arguing and she didn't get past her trauma and she brought all that baggage from her past into our relationship, which caused us to to kind of just have all these tiffs. But anyway, it took 2 years before I came across her, and I think another reason why I stayed was because it took me 2 years to find her. Is it going to take me 2 years to find somebody else? I mean, I'm already I think now about at this point, I'm like a year of being single at this point. And it's just like, I don't worry about it like I used to, but that is another thing that people worry about is,
The thing is with that is, yes, it's going to take you a while to find another partner that you didn't want to see the flaws in the other person that you were dating before that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take you a while because you're like, oh shit, the next girl is going to do the same thing to me. Right. Or I'm going to start doing the same things to the other person. Mm-hmm. Another thing that was kind of brought to my mind, it was like, okay, well, what you do to that person is going to come back in you, it's going to be karma, if you fuck up or cheat with that person, it's going to be on the back of your mind. Like, oh shit, I fucked up. I cheated on the person. So now I'm going to have somebody come in my life and cheat on me and lie to me, Right. So it's going to be that fear of having that, having that person cheat on you or break your heart, Yeah. I mean, if you live by that fear and you stick by that fear, you're never going to find anybody.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to be alone forever.
You're going to be alone forever, But if you stick to that fear, even though it might happen or might not happen or whatever, etc., fine. Yeah. It's going to happen either way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, your mentality is going to be always that thing too. But in reality, it's like, what are the chances of that happening? Mm-hmm. 1 in a 0 or 1 in 1,000. Exactly. So even if I break this girl's heart and then I start to lose feelings out of this person or she loses feelings from me, I feel like she's going to find somebody better than me, way better. Yeah. The dude's going to have his shit together. He's going to have better cars. He might be a millionaire. You never know. Right. And I was like, if she finds that person that she was looking for, good for her. I'm not going to hold her back. If she told me to this moment right now that I'm going to break up with you, it's not like I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not trying to be that asshole. But it wouldn't be like, damn, I got to go cry in the corner. I'm going to go cut myself, Yeah. Because I've been done that. I've been cheated on. I've been dumped on. It's not something that we haven't gone through. Right. Now, falling in love with that person all over again might be different,
Oh, for sure.
You might be the one chasing that person now. Yeah. Instead of that person chasing you. And then, speaking of chasing, or, I don't know, maybe me and you we've never been the ones getting chased on,
Yeah.
We've always been the ones.
We've been doing the chasing.
We've
Exactly.
been the ones chasing them, and it feels nice to be the one chasing, or it feels nice to be the one chased on. Yeah, Because it's like, damn, like, when is the chance that someone else is going to come in our lives and chase us?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It's on the dot on that. Like, okay, what's good for you, you find bad.
Mm-hmm.
What's good for them, they find bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because in reality, okay, the one thing I notice when this girl's chasing me, I don't have that feeling that she has on me. Like, okay, I love her and all that, but do I really mean it? Do I really feel like it? I'm part of my heart, maybe. Right. But it's like, okay, I'll show you emotion, or maybe I'm not as motivated as you are to kind of go out and be like, be lovey-dovey, in that mindset of, of that puppy love that we talked about.
Right.
And it gets you into that feeling like, damn, like maybe down the line I will have that lovey-dovey. I'll get to start chasing her around.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if it doesn't come around and you're kind of stuck in this limbo?
Right.
Like, damn, there's doubts and doubts and doubts. And now you're just staying there just because you don't want to be alone.
Exactly.
And it's like, damn, that is horrible. Even for that person.
Yeah.
For yourself and that person. That's very toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, man. It's hard. And, and there are questions about like compatibility, like, as far as like, would you prefer to have somebody that's, like on your level or in your league, or, would you rather, I guess, try to see if you can handle somebody that's outside of your league? And that's where it gets kind of tricky, because like, if it's somebody that's outside of your league, dude, if they know that they like you, now you're in a situation where it's like you like them more than they like you, and they're going to take advantage of you.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. And okay, for example, you can find a 9 out of 10, the hottest girl ever, and knows that she can get away with everything you say or she does.
Yeah,
because you could be like, hey, let me buy me this, or do this for me, because she's hot.
Right.
She's someone that's gonna be like a trophy wife.
Ooh, yeah.
It's gonna be something they're gonna show off.
Right.
They're like, oh, look what that guy. Ooh, look, she likes me more than I like her. Exactly. But those are more of a showing off feelings. Like, damn, bro, I got this hot girl and you got this.
Yeah.
So and it's like, damn, yeah, you got the hot wife, but does she really love you?
Exactly. Exactly, man.
Or does she love you for your money or your style of life?
Right. Yeah. And I think in my own situation, that's why, like, there have been a couple of girls that I went out on dates with that were like, whew, they were way outside of my league. And I was like, how the fuck did I land that? But, I think, like, overall, the relationship was cool and all, but the reason why it had to end, and this is an exclusive to everybody that listens to this podcast, but I do have plans on, moving to California. And so that was like one thing that kind of almost like, well, not almost, it did kind of draw a little bit of a wedge between like me and the person that I was on that date with or seeing, because they're like, they liked me, I liked them, but of course the fact that I had plans on moving, there was like, that's like, oh shit, well,
they got to take a step back.
They got to take it right, and I respect that, because it's like, if I'm moving in like a matter of like a year or something like that, I can't ask somebody to like up in their life.
It's more like taking a step back and realizing, what do I really have here, whatever state I'm living in? Is it beneficial for me to move with that person? Do I really love this person to move for that person? Yeah. If they really loved you and they really care for you, shit, they will jump sky high for anything, They will be ready to kind of move with that person.
Right.
But you got to give it that, like you said, that time and energy. Exactly. Let's say, for example, you do have that half a year of moving. That's plenty of time to kind of realize, what do you really want? Do you want to move with that person, or do you not want to move with that person? Do you want to move forward with that person? That gives you plenty of time, instead of a month or a week from whatever time you start a relationship with.
Right.
Instead of just kind of like, damn, I want to go with him because he's hot or she's cute or whatever, et cetera,
Exactly.
In that year, that's more than enough to be like, damn, all right, I made my decision.
Exactly.
But you don't think about it in that way, because it's like, damn, that is a year that we're together. What if it doesn't work out throughout the year? Right. Now we kind of make this plan to kind of like move forward,
Yeah, it gets
and that's
tricky.
why I kind of like told my girlfriend that I'll be like, and that's I can't give you a time frame that I'm gonna move in with you, or I'm gonna marry you in this time frame. You know,
Right.
It could be a month from now or 10 years from now. You know?
Right.
I can't give you that because it makes no sense. It makes no
You all are in the beginning stages of getting to know
the
each
relationship. You know, like I can't tell you something that it might be a lie. You know,
other. Right.
so why would you put your faith in that lie?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
you can literally catch me cheating with another girl right now, and they'll be like,
Right. It's like
your whole plans went down the toilet.
Exactly.
So why go through that?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or you just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. Hey, can I let you in a little secret? So I use Buzzsprout to host Situaseans podcast, and let me tell you, it has been the easiest tool I've ever come across for publishing and running a podcast. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So come on, join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Follow the link in the show notes, and that'll let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. And guess what? That gets you $20 credit if you sign up for a paid plan, and overall, that helps support our show. Let's create something great together. So we got a listener submission, and I'm excited to read from it, because this kind of talks about what Pedro and I have been talking about, like the next phase of your life, marriage, kids and all that stuff. So, we're going to go ahead and hop in. So, let's go ahead and do it. Cue the music. All right. So this listener submission asks a great question. It's saying, can you talk about when's the right time to marry someone, or how someone can tell when they're ready? Is there a time frame? What makes someone marriage material, and etc.? Well, this is, a great question. Honestly, time frame wise, you have to give it at least a couple of years from the point that first date was had, in my opinion, because it's like you need time to make sure and vet and make that person, to make sure that you want to spend the rest of your life with them, because in 2 years, I think that's a bare minimum. Exactly. Because a lot of people take 5 years. There's some that take 10 years, and so on. I was with my relationship at the time. It was we were together for 7 years, 6 or 7 years before we got married. So, it just takes time.
A lot of them really get married after high school, by knowing themselves from freshman year to senior year.
Oh yeah,
because they have that senior seahorse. Oh, sorry. It's like, yes, we would like to have our high school sweethearts, but it does never work out how you planned it.
Yeah.
Something falls out of place. Love, trust. Something always has to fall out.
Exactly.
It has to be a special occasion that you really, really love that person. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be like, okay, I can see myself in that future with this person.
Right.
Instead of just, high school sweetheart,
Yeah. Honestly, those that end up with their high school sweethearts, I feel like they're fucking lucky, because
I feel like they're blessed.
It's rare.
That is blessed.
Yeah.
Because that is something that you're like, okay, this person is legit meant for me.
Yeah. The only downside to it is if you're marrying your high school sweetheart, they're like, and you never, let's say, you got married like a couple years out of high school or whatever. That means that like the downside to that is that like, those two people, they never had a chance to like go out and have their fun or have their, like, what does it call it? Like the hoe phase or whatever. They didn't each go out and have their hoe phase. So they are all each other that each other know.
Yeah.
So
but some people do get their whole face during high school too.
Too, yeah.
It depends on the person, it is something it depends on the person's personality too.
Yeah,
you could be as friendly, you can be as cold, you can be as funny. Some people like that funny face of that personality. Like, oh, you're very funny. Ha, ha, ha. That's what I like about you.
Yeah.
Or someone could be very nice. That's what I like about you. Mm-hmm. Or they're very inner child. They're very childish about certain things. And they don't take everything serious.
Yeah, I know for me, like, especially like in high school, like I was like in a theater program and like, there was like some girls that I messed with, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like, because like I went to like all, like, like, I mean, this, I went to like, an all boys high school or whatever, but right next door is an all girls high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my theater program over there. So, there was like a couple of girls that like, I was, kind of like involved with whatever, like on and off. But then like, there was like, I was mostly messing with girls from like other schools or whatever. Cause I was like, well, I don't want to like shit right, exactly.
it was like, yeah, I went to, all,
like a co-ed, right?
Co-ed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was always, there's females, males, and whatever, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that occasional, like, oh yeah, move on to the next one, or go to this, like, oh, it's just that, it's just high school romance, it's just you're always gonna find that cuter girl or someone that you would find attractive because you're kind of figuring out yourself.
Exactly, bro.
So you're trying to figure out what's compatible to you. Mm-hmm. Maybe her personality is more too energetic or is too very on the down low.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro.
I don't know. Well, my preference of girls has always been like, okay, we go out, we'll do this together, but also kind of chill back and be like, oh, I don't want to do shit. I want to chill at home or do this, do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and also, I just feel like on top of that, the timeline is whatever you and your date set, and I feel, or not date, or your relationship set, and also it's kind of like you don't want to rush into anything either. You want to make sure that person is right for you because weddings are not fucking cheap. Weddings are expensive.
They're expensive. They're ready to rip
right?
one arm and leg. As
a divorcee, I can tell you that weddings are fucking expensive, and I felt like,
what's more expensive, getting divorced or getting married?
Getting married. Well, it depends though, like, because there are people that have like $1 million divorce settlements, and like, of course, that ain't me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things. Like,
it was a couple thousand. I'll tell you that for my divorce. But as far as like the wedding. Oh yeah, the wedding was like like honestly, thank goodness, like my ex-wife's parents paid for a majority of it or whatever. But we still had to like contribute a little bit here and there where we could. But bro, a lot was still coming out of our pockets as well. And let me tell you something, man. Like the amount of like wedding, you could have bought like a nice ass fucking like car or a nice ass mid-size SUV.
House.
Oh no, not a house.
No, but I'm saying like with the money you spend on the wedding, you could have bought a house, bro. Like honestly,
it'd be a nice ass down payment for a house. Yeah,
it would be better than just kind of wasting on a wedding. Like it's funny because it's like it's certain things that you already love and all this, but somebody's gonna fall out of love. I'm telling you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always gonna be like something. It has to be something that they didn't like about your partner.
Absolutely.
And it was like, okay, I asked this to my girlfriend, like, why did your ex? I want to call her ex-husband because they have a kid together.
Yeah.
What did your ex-husband didn't like about you? Mm-hmm. Or what is something he fell out of love with you? Mm. And she was like, oh, maybe it was just something that, I don't know. I think she said, can't remember on top of my head right now. But it was something that it was getting boring. The relationship gets boring.
Yeah.
It might have been her or maybe him, Mm-hmm. But it gets boring after a minute, When it gets boring and you don't feel the same vibes anymore, it's best to not stick around anymore.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's more of don't want to stick around, but if you have a kid with that person, stick around a little bit more. You know, trying to work it out.
Yeah, especially if it's like, it's not a toxic relationship and no one's being abusive to towards each other.
No abusive, but you need to work on yourself too.
Exactly.
You can't just be like, I'm just going to leave this relationship. And
just because it's boring, right? Just because it's boring or whatever. Like if you have a kid together, you got to like try to see how you can spice up that relationship.
or try to motivate yourself to be more uplifting, Mm-hmm. But if you have no kids with that person, clearly you can just leave the relationship.
Right, yeah. But if it's like, you got a kid together and you're leaving just because you're bored in a relationship, I agree. You should try to like work it out for the sake of that kid. Yeah.
But if you have no kids with that person and you don't have feelings for that person anymore, don't close yourself to that relationship. Even if you do have feelings for that person and the other person does not have feelings for you, try to be the strong one and say, you know what, this is not for me.
Right. Absolutely.
I need to get out of this relationship.
Absolutely. And on top of that, and like here's like another thing like too that like, I kind of wanted us to talk about too, because another thing that kind of like how you can know whether or not you're ready to get married or someone is marriage material, you want to have like this discussion about like family life, future plans, kids, like a house, like especially if either of you want a house. I mean, if two people in a relationship are thinking about getting married, they have to have those discussions about future plans.
Here's another thing. Let's say, for example, there's one person that wants to get married and the other one does not.
Ooh.
That is a topic that you're going to be like, how do I convince this person to marry me? If there's no convincing, there's no objection to it, what are you doing in a relationship?
There you go.
If they see no future with you too, what are you doing in a relationship? You guys should start thinking about that too.
Mm-hmm.
They told you, no, there's no future with you.
Mm-hmm.
Start thinking about kind of moving on.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what's best for you.
Start thinking about yourself first. Stop thinking about others' feelings or comforts for that person.
Right, because what about you? Exactly.
You are neglecting yourself. And I told my girlfriend, I'm like, stop feeding into bullshit other people. Stop trying to compare yourself to other people too.
Right.
That's not you. You do you.
Right. We're all different.
We're all different. We have all different mindsets. We all have this uniqueness to each other. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to feed this bullshit into other people's shit.
Exactly. Because example, like if somebody, let's say, both of the people in this relationship, they want like they know that they want to be together, but only one of them wants a house, and the other's like, well, this housing market is too expensive, which would be valid because it's so expensive these days to get a house. So then what do they do? Well, they got to kind of find that middle ground because like, okay, maybe for now you rent, and then like let's say they both want kids. Okay, if first and foremost check and make sure before you get married, check or plan on getting married. At least by like the third or fourth date, someone's got to talk about whether or not they want to have kids before you go years into this relationship and find out, oh, wait a minute, they don't want kids.
I don't want no kids. Or let's find out if you can have kids, Some
that
people can't have kids at all.
Do you adopt? Do you surrogacy?
Right.
Like, do you like what do you do? Yeah.
Adopting. Let's talk about a little bit of adopting. I know well, I don't know people that've been adopted. The only person I know is your ex-wife that's been adopted. Mm-hmm. It's mostly they're gonna feel out of place because they're not blood related or they're not in that circle of family.
Right.
You don't want to bring a kid. Let's say, for example, you do adopt a kid and you guys want to break up.
Yeah.
And it kind of feeds into that neglection. Like you don't want to neglect this kid that you just adopted and it didn't work out in your relationship. So now you're stuck with another kid, It's either the mom takes them or the dad takes them, like
what happens?
What happens after that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just important to just for both people to continue to have those conversations because it's like, things are going to change. Life is going to just throw shit at you all the damn time. Yeah. Like, and so you have to both make sure that even if one of you, like, even if they both come to that conclusion, okay, we do want kids, and let's say they do want to adopt, or let's say they can't have kids of their own, they got to have a plan B in case, they break up or someone passes away,
Right.
or just can't be involved, like,
in a relationship anymore.
Exactly. Or what if like one of the spouses, or, like what if one of the people in that relationship, one of them is like, they travel for work and they're never home.
Yeah.
What do you know what I mean? So you got to have those conversations like early on. And honestly, if you and your partner are talking about these things and having plan Bs, plan Cs, also that's marriage material. If you have a partner that's talking about plan B through Z, oh hell yeah! Like you know that because they're planners.
It's planners. You're gonna have somebody in that relationship that has a plan B from plan A to Z. Like you said. It can't be just a plan and then nothing else after that.
Right, because you're gonna fuck over yourself, and now that you're in this marriage or this relationship, you just fucked over both people. Yeah. So and a kid if you brought a kid into the situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you bring a kid into the squirrel or you bring a kid from adoption, you're literally just kind of left that kid by yourself. Like you literally just gave him that freedom to just be like, oh, you're on your own.
Exactly.
That's not the whole trust to that.
Exactly, man. It's so you have to have those conversations to make sure that you both want the same thing. And then also, I think it's like another like really important thing is too, like, are you both living separate, or like, are they living separate, or are they both living together, or maybe have like that trial period, live together first before you get married, because like in past generations, our parents' generation, like they used to like live, like they would move in together after they get married,
and that's it, and then they'll just continue the whole life, even if they do hate each other, like, oh, we're already living together, we already have a kid together, right? And then something else happens on the road, like, oh, I found somebody better than you, right? You kind of. It could be from 1 year to 23 years, so and in those 23 years, it starts to die down. That love starts to go away.
Yeah,
it happens. We're human. We're not freaking machines. Yeah. So you're gonna have to like think about, like we said, planning out your whole life too. If you're kind of not the one who plans it out, you're shit out of luck. If you get two people that don't plan nothing out.
Yeah,
you're in the water. You're drowning.
Exactly. Because the thing is, it's good to have plans, because at the end of the day, you don't have to plan. You have to plan it, but at the same time, you don't have to your plans. You can't expect your plans to go 100% of the time correct, because shit's gonna happen.
I told my girlfriend this too, and I told her straight up. When I plan something out. And I say, I'm going to do this and this and that and that. From the start to the end, it always goes bad. I can never plan anything correctly because something in the middle changes or in the beginning. Exactly. Something always has to go wrong. Exactly. Like, oh, the grandma fell down, or the dog is sick, or the certain down the road, or... We're going to go to this restaurant? No, never mind. We're not going to go to that restaurant. We're going to go to this restaurant now. Like,
exactly. How? Plans are going to change. Plans are going to change. And, and plus by living together and having this trial marriage, I guess arrangement, you're going to see like the good and bad and the ugly with that person that you wouldn't normally see if you live separate. Yep. So, if this person, wakes up and they don't, or like they wake up early or whatever, and you don't wake up early or whatever, and they're loud when they get ready for work or whatever, and that annoys the fucking shit out of you.
You cannot be like, damn, like this motherfucker just threw a whole party on the way down the stairs. Like,
exactly. So so like you got that you have to worry about. Also, you have to worry about not worry about, but again. Like if someone has pets or whatever, like how are they with pets? Are you allergic to pets? Because if you're allergic to their pets, how do you navigate that?
How do you navigate this whole allergy?
Also, what if somebody is messy as shit and the other person is tiny?
It's the other person. Like, how do you come to a conclusion to that one? How do you deal with that person being dirty and this person being clean?
Exactly.
Like, motherfucker, you're gonna get annoyed. You're gonna get tired of cleaning up their shit. You're gonna get annoyed of they leaving everywhere their crap. It's gonna get to a point where like, fuck you, get out of my house.
Exactly. So you have to have that trial period of living together first, because it's a whole different generation. Like these days, our generation and like Gen millennials and Gen Z, we are moving in with our partners first to make sure that this is what we want, because we don't want to move in together only to find out, wait a minute, this person does all these things that trigger me, and now we just blew a bunch of money living in together. Now I don't want to be with this person no more. Now I gotta like find a way else to live. And now I gotta find it, pull more and more money out of my pocket that I didn't have. And so, yeah, you got to make sure. And, and especially in my situation, like I said, with my ex, whatever, I didn't want to move in with her because we were arguing so fucking much, but she was put the guilt trip on me. Oh, you don't love me. We've been together for a whole year. I really like you. I really love you, and you should move in. I'm like, look, we argue too much, and I just know that I'm gonna end up moving out a few months after I fucking move in. I'm like, and I called this shit. I knew it was gonna happen, but I put my feelings last. I put my needs last, and I put her needs and her feelings first. And I moved in. And then guess what, bro? Like I said, you remember this. I moved out 3 months after
you're moving in,
and it cost me $5,000 to move out because I have to first month's rent or whatever to put the deposit. I had to buy all new furniture because she persuaded me to get rid of my furniture or whatever. Because get rid of your furniture because we're gonna buy new furniture together or whatever.
The thing when it comes down to moving in with a person, you gotta see how their personality works with yours. Is it compatible working with you? Even though you're not living together, but you're kind of going to their house, you're kind of going to, have a little sleepovers, you spend the night, and you kind of get to have this personality about them.
Right, because you get to see them at their cleanest and at their messiest.
Right. You're going to see their personality, how they're effective. Yeah, you're going to be the cleanest son of a bitch on the planet because you're not trying to be a bad host or a bad guest to that person,
Exactly, man.
And you're trying to be, not an asshole. You're trying to be like, you know what? Let me clean up. Let me put it away. But in a month or two down the road, I don't give a fuck. She could do all this shit, or
exactly.
Your mentality changes.
It does. It really does.
Let's talk about one more thing, jealousy.
Go for it.
Jealousy. Okay. How jealous are you? How much jealousy you trust this person? When you jump into a relationship, how much trust are you bringing into the relationship? Do you think it's going to cheat like your ex previous relationship? Or do you think you're going to do the same thing to that person? Or they're going to do the same thing to you?
Yeah, how do you navigate the jealousy?
How do you navigate the jealousy?
That's a great point. Yeah.
How do you feel about your jealousy? What is the one that would trigger your jealousy?
I know for me, I'm not and I'm glad that this has always been about me. But even though I was cheated on by my ex-wife or whatever, but I was never really a jealous person because I was you know what, I'm not gonna be jealous unless they give me a reason to be jealous. Because I know for me, I would not want them to be jealous of me because again, me, I'm a faithful, loyal person. It's if I like you, if I fucks with you, and I know that you got my back, I got your back, you my ride or die. I'm here for you. I ain't gonna fuck that shit up.
Right.
But and me, I'm the type of person that's okay, if I don't. If I'm getting to know you, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt to I'm not gonna stalk you or try to check your phone or whatever. I'm gonna trust you unless you give me a reason like otherwise. And with my ex, I didn't even fucking know that any of this crap was going on and that she was FaceTiming and news sexting and chatting and meeting up or whatever the fuck with this guy until she told me a month before the fucking wedding. I was like, what the fuck?
I remember that. When we were in the car, I told you, why are you going through this wedding? And it was directly tell you, dude, I know you spend a lot of money. I know you want to give her a second doubt of the chance, But in reality, you were being too nice to her, dog.
I was putting my feelings last. You were putting
your feelings to the side. You wanted to make it work. You wanted to have this relationship work, but there's just no trust anymore.
Oh, yeah. So here are some good marriage traits or things you can see in somebody that'll kind of help you, get to know whether or not they're marriage material. So again, someone that's willing to meet you halfway and kind of, make you a priority when it matters most. Now, at the end of the day, it's none of our responsibility to make somebody else each other's priority 100% of the time. That's just unrealistic. You know what I mean? Because you got other priorities. If you got kids, your kids are your number one priority over your spouse or partner. And then, you got other priorities like work or, you got your social circles, your different things that you got going on and family and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if your partner is, making you a majority or like, significant when it matters most, I think that's what counts. Like, you know what I mean? Let's say you need help with something, or let's say they got a big job interview coming up, or like a big life event coming up, and you're there for that person. You're like, hey, how can I support you? Or hey, do you need me to like practice or rehearse something with you or whatever?
Yeah. That's when it counts the most. Like what you said, it's like, okay, you're there in support of that person. And it's like, okay, I have this going on in my life. I want to get a new job. I want to do this. I need your support to be there. Yeah. Not when it counts to when, you can't hang out with your friends because I'm supposed to come first before your friends. Right. Or your family can be second to me now, Like that kind of, to me, that's a kind of a turnoff. Like, come on, like you kind of distance yourself from your own family. You're kind of distancing yourself from your friends.
Yeah. You can't.
There's been moments like, you need your alone time. You need to relax, chill. Right. Don't have to focus too much on that person. You love that person. You care for that person. But back off a little bit. You're being a little too much clingy, Right. Try to, ease off on it. Try to be in their shoes. Don't try to put everything off because you got to hang out with that person.
Exactly.
Or stop doing what you have to do because you have to rush to that person.
Right.
Take your time.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
You just need to chill. You need to think about yourself. Take care of your health. Think about your mentality.
Yeah.
Because if you focus too much on that person might not care a damn drop about you.
Or even notice that you're putting
too much effort into them.
Exactly.
If you're giving 100% into that effort of that person, you're fucking up.
Yeah, exactly.
You are fucking up.
You have to like
know where your boundaries are.
Exactly. You gotta know your boundaries and kind of respect each other's boundaries and kind of, again, at the end of the day, we have to put ourselves first.
Yes.
And then, we can worry about how we can fit partners into that
relationship.
Exactly.
You have to know how to love yourself before you love somebody else.
There you go.
If you don't know how to love yourself, how are you supposed to show somebody else you love?
Yeah. Exactly.
I could say I hate myself as much as I know, but I don't know how to love myself, and I don't know how to love somebody else.
Right, bro.
I don't know how to show affection when I don't have affection for myself.
Exactly. You gotta show it to yourself first and foremost. And then trust and honesty.
Trust and honesty is always the number one key. And it's what ruins a relationship. If there's nothing there that you can trust a partner, you don't lie. Because lies are gonna be there. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta come up with some excuse to be like, I gotta go, I wanna hang out by myself. Because you're used to that. You're used to that.
Exactly.
That alone time, like, okay, let me get my shit together. I can figure out where's my next step. Because to be honest, I've never been the one to get my stuff together on the first try. It has to take me a couple times to be like, okay, I fucked up the first time, I fucked up the second time, or even the third time,
Right.
But it will get me eventually to know how to get to that spot,
Exactly, bro.
I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not no way near perfect.
Yeah.
Am I married? Like we said,
like marriage material? Yeah.
I don't think so. Because I don't have my shit together.
Yeah, I mean, we're all different.
It
takes time for some people.
Personal, I don't have first of all, I don't even have a savings. I don't have anything that will kind of relate to that marriage proposal,
Yeah, you do gotta have
you need to be
money saved.
You need to focus on that person. You need to have a situated partner, I'm not that person. I am not nowhere near or come close to that.
Yeah, it takes time, man. It takes time. And of course, when it's with the right person, you both will begin to kind of, get your shit together, at the same time, if you both are trying to like work through it, or if one person has their shit together and the other person doesn't, well, you just got to hope and pray that the person that does have their shit together is patient enough to wait for the person that doesn't have their shit together to get their shit together.
But I'm going to, like when I always tell my partner too, don't wait on that person to get their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
It might not come to a point where they don't get their shit together at all.
Exactly. I think there's like a grace period. If it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
If it's like a year, okay, cool, I get it. It's a year. I'm trying to like get to know this person. But if it's like 5 years and this person still ain't got their shit
together, then there's no saving at all. You know?
Right? Ain't no point in like even trying to like think about getting married at that point. It's
the same thing is like when it comes to like the first 6 months out of the relationship. If you don't get that 6 months into the relationship, your shit together, there's nothing there. Exactly. I don't understand. Like, let's go a little further. Let's say 3 months. If you don't got nothing to provide to this person,
right? After 3 months.
After 3 months, no,
exactly.
Time to move on.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And I think also too is like, you know, are both parties willing to like split finances? I think that's an important thing. That's
important too, because you don't want just one person just to rely on your finances. You know,
exactly.
You can't be a slouch and just rely on that single person. You can't be like, oh, you give me money and I'll take care of everything else.
Right.
Okay. Maybe there is a special occasions where, you know, your spouse will stay as a housewife or a house husband, because it happens, you know?
Oh, for sure.
You know, but there has to be a special occasion where you're like, the dude will take care of, or the female will take care of the dude. Right. And that's rare, because that's like rare to the rare. But to me personally, that's not what I want either, because I want someone who I can do 50-50 with. I can do kind of share that experience with them.
Are they meeting you halfway, like most of the time? Because here's the thing. You know, no one's going to agree on things all the time. People are going to disagree.
No, they're going to disagree. Yeah.
But as long as they're willing to like meet you halfway, I think that's a huge indicator of somebody that's marriage material, or at least somebody that's life partner worthy. Because it's like, that's the whole thing about relationships, marriages, engagements, whatever you would define your relationship as. As long as both people are willing to meet halfway most of the time. Because again, there are going to be times where it's like you can't meet halfway because there's an emergency, or you know, like your job, like
it's in the way,
right? In the way.
You can't tell your boss to be like, "Hey, boss, I can't do it today because I have to take care of my, you know, girlfriend or boyfriend." You know,
exactly.
They're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Right? It's like,
get your ass right here.
Exactly.
Like, you know.
Yeah, right. So there are going to be times when life throws shit at you and you won't be able to meet each other halfway 100% of the time. Right. But as long as you guys are meeting halfway, you know, at least 75% of the time, at the very least, I feel like that's saying more than most, because there are a lot of relationships where it's one partner that's compromising more than the other.
Oh yeah, it's always going to be like that, because it's not. Yeah, sure, it's not fair, but it's the way of life works, you know.
That's how some relationships just end up being, and you just get used to that
idea. But like I told my girlfriend, I was like, you got to understand, like, not everything can be the right way. There's always going to be some downside to it.
Right.
For example, like right now, like, oh, we'll meet up in etc. But now it's just kind of falling into the place where you're like, yeah, everybody has their mixed feelings now. You know, does he like me? Does he love me?
Yeah, you're gonna have those rough patches.
There's gonna be a lot of rough patches,
you know, ups and downs. Yeah,
but you're using those rough patches as an excuse now. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're using it like, okay, he doesn't like me because of my body, or he doesn't like me because of the way I am, or the way that if I didn't like you for your body, I would not date you from the get-go.
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? That shouldn't be an excuse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I didn't like your body type, or it's something that I didn't like about you, I would not date you.
Right. Exactly.
Why would I waste my time and energy trying to date somebody whose body I don't like?
Right. Exactly. You know everyone has a type, and and all bodies are beautiful. You know, we definitely want to highlight that and let people know that all bodies are beautiful, that first and foremost. But yeah, there are, we all have types at the end of the day. So like some people like people with certain body shapes. But yeah, right. So yeah, to your point, I definitely see where you're coming from, because if someone's body was really that big of a deal to you, you wouldn't have been with that person. So obviously it's not an issue, but because, maybe they're insecure in some way or some facet in their life, they're insecure about something. It's telling them in their head, oh, he doesn't like me because of this or because of my body, when in reality, that's not the case at all.
Right. But in the case, you're starting to kind of push it on the person too. You're like, damn, now what is the next issue she's gonna come up with me, or what is the next idea that might not be rolling in her head? Be like, damn, man, like he don't like me because of this or that, or it's the mentality of the other person too.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And so I think at the end of the day, we all have, insecurities and things that, we're uncertain about, or we're not sure that the other person sees us as, but that's why it's important to have those check-ins. Like, how do you see me? How do you view me? What do you think? We all have
insecurities about everything.
We all do, yeah.
We all have like this mentality about, shit, I'm too skinny, or girls don't like me because I have a big nose, or I have big ears, or whatever, or I have a big forehead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we all have insecurities.
We all have insecurities.
Like it's
me. I'm like, damn, maybe I'm too tall for this person, or maybe or maybe I'm not the type because maybe they're just not into, I don't know, like my crazy schedule, or maybe like it's something like with me visually, maybe because I don't know, like I don't have luscious like hair or whatever,
or it's something that like, we always had this mentality about women, like they want a muscular dude,
right? They want the Rock.
They want the Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always something that kind of like, what is women looking for in this generation? Is it the money? Is it the fame? Is it just the sex part?
Yeah, exactly, man. So it's like,
is it really what is women want now?
Right. It's like you got to look within, and you got to like fall in love with the person within that, like what's on the inside first.
And a lot of people don't like that personality either.
Yeah, yeah.
You could be an asshole. You could be a jerk. You could be a nice guy. What are you really falling in love with? Are you falling in love with the concept of just having a relationship?
Right. Are you falling in love with that person, or the idea of that person? Yep, exactly.
Because if you fall in love with that personality of saying, oh, he's a very nice guy, he doesn't smoke, drink, whatever, sort of, doesn't do drugs.
Yeah.
If you fall into the idea of that person, once you get to meet that person and you get to interrupt more into that person's personality and life or style, it starts to change everything.
It does. It really does, bro. It does. And and also I just think it's important to like split finances, and as well. Like like one person shouldn't pay for everything.
Oh no.
And like me. So if that person's willing to split finances, I think they're definitely marriage like material, because it's like it's expensive as fuck to live these days.
Oh yeah, trust me. I've been looking for apartments and stuff like that, in my free time. I looked at apartments for like $1,600 up to like $1,800. The basic wheelchair of the normal society now is maybe $600. You get a paycheck, or
yeah.
What are you supposed to do with
like $600? The average salary?
Average salary is about
it's like 40,000. Yeah.
What can you do with that?
Exactly. Like that. Yeah.
You're living in the ghetto at that point.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's just sad that the cost, the cost of living has increased, whereas minimum wage has barely moved a needle in the last 40 something years like that. What I mean?
Everything else has rise to damn cheap. Like a gallon of milk is almost $7,
Right, exactly. It's like or like recently on social media, where it's like eggs was like expensive as shit.
It was like almost $12 for a dozen. I was like, what?
Right, exactly.
Like I think my neighbor was not growing chickens, but he was cultivating chickens. And I was like, literally,
it's gotten to that point.
It's gotten to that point where you have, farms in your own house.
Right.
It's like, okay, like,
it's just easier to produce the food at home.
Yeah, I gotta ask the neighbor, can I have a chicken? Can you sell me a chicken so I can have eggs too?
Right, exactly. It's so ridiculous. So yeah, so if they're willing to split those finances, I think that's a huge indicator. And then also, willing to be vulnerable and ask for help, because that's the one thing. Acting or portraying like, oh, I'm good, I don't need help. Everything's okay. Like,
and it's
like you can't do that shit, because on the back end, eventually, if you keep having that front of everything's okay, whatever, and you're suffering financially in silence, you're going to go fucking broke. And then that person's going to be like, why the fuck didn't you come to me
in the beginning?
So yeah.
It is a problem when you start holding out these emotions, and it starts to show in your personality, you're like, oh man, now he's looking a little angrier. He's looking a little more depressed. Because in reality, dudes get depressed too. Like women get depressed. Everybody gets depressed. The thing is, with men, they have this mechanism of just staying quiet.
Yeah.
We don't like to show our feelings. We don't like to express our feelings.
Yeah, and that's got to change with like,
a lot of men willing to just chew it up, swallow it, and just keep it moving.
Yeah.
And that's for me. I don't know about you, but that's my personality too. I'm like, if I don't have to say anything, why say anything at all? It's more of a, if I don't want the argument, if I don't want to fight, I don't say anything. Just keep it to myself. That keeps me from arguing. That'll keep me from having to be mad at the person. When I get mad at the person, I don't lash out or anything. I just stay quiet until you start poking the bear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get too tempting, like, okay, I gotta keep jabbing you, jabbing.
Right.
And then you're not gonna like the answer I give you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then you're gonna get upset, and then we don't lead to nothing.
Yeah.
In my upset moments, I will do the most reckless thing, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done.
Because we're lashing out in feelings. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm relying on my anger and my feelings, and I'll just tell you, you know what, I'm done. Exactly,
man. Exactly. And that's why I think it's important to like for both parties to be vulnerable and honest. Like if you're going through something, express that emotion or that feeling. Doesn't matter what you think the other person is going to receive it as. It's better to have said it than not say it at all.
Okay, like from my experience, like it's been moments where I'm like, okay, let me be forward. But in reality, I feel shitty too, saying like, you know what, I don't like this and this and that, or I don't feel like how you feel about me towards you.
Right. Exactly, man.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
But it's. I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hit you. Like, hey, motherfucker, I think you love me more than I loved you. Right. It's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hurt, but it's the reality. It's like the motive of things that I'm telling you straightforward. Right. Instead of me not saying anything and just keeping it in the back and be like, everything's lovely and everything. Like, no, it's not gonna help anything. It's just gonna build up, and it's gonna get to a point like, you know what? I don't want to be in this relationship because I don't feel like how you feel towards me.
Right. Exactly, bro. Exactly.
So it's going to lead to me just kind of backing the fuck off.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it's important to just ask for help. And then also, this is one thing that's, important too, is just being able to just save money. Yeah. Yeah. You got to be able to save your money and everything. But and of course, we had those discussions, before about saving money. But yeah, it's important to save money and know what each other is able to to save. If you're able to have realistic goals.
Because if, for example, in a relationship, if one partner has all the goals in her mind and the other person does not have any goals at all, then it doesn't work like that either. Because me personally, I don't have specific goals. Because if I set a goal and it doesn't come true, it just kind of set me back in a failure,
Right, exactly.
And it's not that I don't want to have goals or motivation to go to school or do a better job or something like that. It's just that I rather not have that goal in mind right now than have that goal and not try it at all.
Right. I feel you, and I think that's important. If your partner has goals, that is an indicator of marriage material because goals are important.
Yes, they are important. But if your partner doesn't have those goals in mind, then it's not going to work either.
Exactly. If only you have goals and
the other partner doesn't have it, then you're just playing yourself. Pretty
much. Exactly. Well, yeah, no, these are just great questions. So you know what? I just want to thank the listeners so much for submitting that question. And, I really appreciate it. Keep on submitting your stories. Again, this is great conversations because we're all going through shit, right, bro? Yeah. We're all going through shit. Yeah. So again, go for it.
It's good to kind of release your inner stress and talk about it because that way you can know where you're standing at. Yeah. If you really love this person and you really trust this person, then go for it. If you don't like this person and there's no trust there and there's always a lie behind everything you say, just let it go.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Just let it go. If you start to have mixed feelings about the person, just always think like, okay, if I'm better off alone, then I'll just stay alone.
Right, exactly. Than to be in it and feel stuck forever.
And feel stuck forever.
Yeah.
And there's been moments where I have my own doubts too, and I kind of start getting mixed feelings about it. And I was like, okay, no, let's see where it goes, you know? And it goes, and it goes, and it goes, and it gets nowhere. Then it's time to let it go.
Exactly, bro. We just need more men to be able to talk about feelings and talk about the shit that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of men that don't want to talk about it because they feel vulnerable. They don't feel like that no one's really listening to them, you know?
Right, or they see it as a sign of weakness.
And they see it as a sign of weakness. I see it as a way out, you know? Like for me to really talk about it, it's for me to be expressive and tell you how I'm really feeling about it. It's not me trying to hold back on anything.
Right.
You know me. I've always been the one to straightforward tell you, hey, this is happening. I don't like it, you know?
Exactly.
I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, well, beat around the bush. I don't like it. Because I told my girlfriend, I was like, the first thing I'm going to tell you, I don't like beating around the bush. I'm going to tell you how straightforward it is. And then there's been moments where like, damn, I want to break it off. Like, honestly, I don't feel it.
Right.
And she was like, no, let's give it like a real try. And then I have my family like, it's because you haven't had a real relationship. This is really your one relationship you had where you met their parents, you met their siblings, you met their cat and dog, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With other ones that I had relationships, yeah, there were relationships, but they were like friends with benefits or friends with, you know.
Or just situations.
It was situations that you were like, okay, I'm there. I got lucky, you know. Right. It's something that I just kind of went with it, you know.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So you know what? Yeah. So like, again, you know, like this is just great. So thank you so much for submitting your story. Now, if you want your story to be, you know, featured on this podcast and unpacked, you got to submit it. There are 3 ways you can submit. The first way, go to situationspodcast.com/submit, situaseanspodcast.com/submit, or you can call the hotline 312-586-2664. Let it ring the voicemail and then leave your voice message. We'll play it on the show. Or you can email us, situationspod@gmail.com. All right. You got 3 ways to submit. I cannot wait to hear from you. Follow us on all social media. We really love that. Follow us on the Patreon. Like subscribe to the Patreon private group if you want to get all the, you know, the nitty gritty details and also the screenshots. The screenshots are there for you. And yeah, I will see you guys back here in a couple of weeks for the next episode